Hello everybody and welcome to this Get Started with MindMaster video. In this video we're going to show you how to use the most important basic features of MindMaster so that you can quickly start using this fantastic mind mapping software in your work, your studies or at home. This video covers everything you need to know in order to complete the Biggerplate certification using MindMaster, which is a great next step if you want to test and validate your new software skills. You can learn more about our certification at biggerplate.com/certification, but for now, let's get started learning how to use MindMaster. So let's get started with some basic mind map building. And before you begin, you obviously need to have created a mind map file, and you can choose to either create a blank mind map or use one of the many locally saved templates within the software. Obviously, we've already got our mind map started here for our presentation, so we're just going to go straight into these topics and learn how to build out further information. When adding topics to your mind map, you can use the main menu up here to say I'd like to add a topic or a subtopic, but once you start to build big maps and work at high speed, this can become quite a slow way of doing it. So a better approach is to actually just use your keyboard to add and build out your mind map. So using the insert or tab key is going to create topics outwards as such, and then hitting return or enter is going to create a topic on the same level down a step. So down is enter. So again, play with your keyboard and use either the insert and tab keys to go down across, or the enter return keys to go down. Very simple way to build up the basics of your mind map. Once your mind map starts to build up, what you're going to want to do sometimes is hide some information and show others. Mind mapping software is a great way of capturing lots of information, but ensuring you only have the important information visible at the time you need it. So what we want to do in MindMaster is learn how to show and hide topics and branches really easily. The quickest and probably easiest way to do this is just by clicking these plus and minus symbols. As you can see, that will show or hide that information, and you can do this at multiple levels to show and hide large informations or just the next level of information. You can also use your keyboard to create a little shortcut for this using the Alt and the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or so keys to just show the levels, a number of levels that you want for any topic. So for example, if I click this topic here and hit Alt 1, it's going to hide that, and I open Alt 1 or Alt 2 rather is going to open it up again. Now that's a little bit more useful once you start going from this main topic. So for example, to hit the Alt 1 key is going to hide everything. To hit Alt 2 starts to show me that second level, Alt 3 that third level, and so on and so forth. So a nice quick way of showing or hiding everything from the center, or of course if you're a bit further out here you can start to use those same shortcuts to just open out the pieces you want. But my preferred method is usually just clicking these pluses and minuses to make sure you're doing it accurately and in the areas that you want to. So next we look at moving topics in MindMaster. We've built up our mind map and maybe now we've started to see that some things aren't quite where we want them to be, so we want to move some topics around the mind map. There's lots of different ways of doing this. If we're moving an individual topic, the easiest and quickest way is to just use our mouse, left click that topic, left click and hold it, and you'll see you just start to get this little kind of orange shadow if you like, and that's MindMaster showing you where that topic is going to land. So if I release my mouse here, you'll see it lands right where the orange topic was showing. If I want to move it back, again just left click my mouse and hold that down and off it goes. Really quick and easy to move individual topics, but you can also move multiple topics at once as well. We can either drag our mouse like so across a set of topics, so perhaps I just want to move those two, I've just dragged, and again I can click and hold and move those to there. If I undo that, another way I can do, as it says here, is to control and click. So I can hit control, hold the control key and click some topics, and you'll see it's now highlighted too, and I can then use my mouse, click, hold and drag both of those down to here. Now once you start to build up your mind maps, it's going to be really powerful to get to grips with all of these means of moving topics so that you can quickly organize and reorganize your information so that it makes sense. It's also worth saying, of course, that you can move entire branches. It doesn't have to be an individual topic. For example, I could move this moving topics branch right onto the main level of our map. So we can move topics, or we can move entire branches around our mind map really quickly and easily. Again, a very powerful way of organizing and reorganizing our information. So if you've got the option of moving individual topics, multiple topics at once, or entire branches quickly and easily using MindMaster. So once we've built up a basic mind map, it's time to start thinking about how we might do the editing and start to navigate our way around the MindMaster map. In terms of editing our topics, it's very straightforward to simply edit the text. You can either click and overtype into any topic quickly and easily, so just click the topic and just start typing, or if you want to be more specific, you can double click into the topic and actually type and add to the topic rather than overwriting everything. So either click and just start typing if you want to replace everything, or click in and actually guide your cursor to the specific area that you want to edit. Deleting topics might sound quite obvious, but the easiest way to do that is just by clicking the delete key on your keyboard. Obviously you also have the undo key, as always with all software these days. And another important option for editing that people sometimes don't think to use immediately when they get started with mind mapping is the copy and paste. And you can copy and paste not only individual topics, so for example I can hit Control C and paste that now over to there, but I can also copy and paste entire branches. So for example I could take this editing branch, say copy, and I'm going to click here and then paste, and that means it's going to add that entire branch onto the map. Now it might not be immediately obvious why you would need or want to do that, but the ability to copy and paste different parts of your map and use them in different ways is a really useful thing to just get familiar doing. And obviously, as I say, you can copy and paste individual topics or entire branches. In terms of navigating our way around our maps, there's lots of different options again. You can have mind maps that get really big and comprehensive, so you're going to need to be able to move around that map nice and efficiently. There are a number of different ways I like to use to move around. The first one that you'll see I've been using already is to just grab the canvas, and what I do is you use the right mouse button and click that in any kind of open space, and you'll see I get this little hand, and if I hold that mouse right down, you'll see I can then just pull the canvas around and release that when I'm on the part of the map I want. Now I use that quite often to just jump between different sections, just pulling the canvas across, and it's a really good feature to get used to move around a map quickly. Obviously you also have other options in the software. You've got these kind of sliders that allow you to go from side to side, or up or down just on the bottom and the side of the canvas here. And you can also use control and your mouse wheel or your trackpad to zoom in or even move side to side and up and down just using the trackpad or the mouse wheel on your mouse. So just get used to moving around the map is a very powerful way of making sure when the information starts to build up, you don't get overwhelmed by it. In terms of zooming in and out on the map, again, we've seen some of these features already, but quick ways to doing that are to use your keyboard again, so to use Control and the plus or minus keys, for example. So if I zoom out, I hit Control minus as such. If I want to zoom in, Control and the plus key. I also have other options here in the software itself. There's a little slider down here that enables me to zoom in or out. Again, I tend to be using the Control plus, Control minus, or again that mouse or trackpad option to just sort of pinch in and out using the trackpad on my laptop. A couple of quick views that are really useful when you're talking about navigation. The first is this option down here to fit the map. So no matter how zoomed in you are, you can just hit this button just down here on the right to match the entire map into the screen size you've got. So again, just to illustrate that, again, if I was zoomed right in here, but I just wanted to zoom out quickly and remember where I am in the whole picture, I can come down here and just hit this little key, and it's going to zoom out and show me everything that I've got unfolded or showing in the map at any given time. We also looked earlier at this Alt plus a number key to just give you different levels and different views here. So again, if I just hit Alt 1, it's going to reduce the mind map down to that first level. Alt 2 starts to open it up, Alt 3, 4, 5, and so on. So a nice simple way of just getting your bearings when you are perhaps zoomed in on a map or you want to zoom out. So zooming in and out of your mind map, very, very easy, using lots of different ways in MindMaster. So we've built up our mind map and we're very comfortable now editing and navigating our way around. So let's look at how we can do some of the formatting options within MindMaster. A key area to direct your attention to really when it comes to formatting is this right hand menu on the sidebar menu. And if I hit this paintbrush option, you'll see I immediately get a lot of different options here to start working with our topics and branches in terms of formatting. So in terms of an individual topic, we've got lots of different options here in the menu to change the color, the shape, the line, or the font of the text. So for example, make sure you've got the topic selected that you want to influence, and then you could just choose, for example, to change the shape, the fill that's behind it. So we can change it to, for example, this color. We can change the actual shape of that topic. At the moment it's just a line, but we could choose to make any one of these very kind of creative different shape options that MindMaster gives you. As it says there, we've got shape options, and then we can also do things like change the line color. So if you wanted a particular line to illustrate a particular point, maybe something is green because it's good or red because it's bad, you've got loads of different options, including even changing the line thickness here in MindMaster, all accessible from this paintbrush menu on the sidebar. When it comes to the text in your topic, of course, you've also got lots of options. You can change both the font itself, and you can also then start to play around with the size, again, the font color, the fill behind the font. Lots of customization options here in MindMaster. One of the most comprehensive sort of topic formatting menus you're going to find in mind mapping software, really enabling you to personalize and brand your content. Of course, you can also apply changes to entire branches, so you can select the actual sort of shape and color of the branches, those lines that are joining up to topics. So for example, we can choose to have maybe this kind of thicker style of branch, and the great thing with MindMaster is you see the changes, sort of how they're going to appear before you actually select. So you can see if it's looking how you want before you select. So again, we can make changes to all of those branches at once. You see these blues and changes as we make the changes, and also we can change the connections themselves. So instead of having a line, we can actually choose to have arrows, we can choose to have dotted lines. We can make any sort of changes we like, really, including the overall kind of shape and arches of these different options. So lots of different ways to format your topics and your branches using mainly this right hand menu, and just look out for that little paintbrush symbol, and you've got plenty of options available to you almost immediately. Now let's look at adding some more visual interest to your mind maps using some of the additional functionality within MindMaster. Lots of different options here to add more visuals to your maps, and the first option we have is to create images in our mind maps. We've got a couple of options in terms of adding images. We can either add these from the software library, so the existing clip art that's in MindMaster, or from our own computer. If we want to add images from the software library of clip art, we can simply go to the home menu and then slide across here to the clip art symbol. If I click that, it's going to pop open that sidebar menu, and that of course is a similar way you can also get to the same menu. If I close that down again, just scroll down here, you can see this little symbol here, and that's going to pop open our clip art. Now we can search using any of the keywords we want to try and find images for, or we can just go into the existing gallery, and you'll see we've got lots of different image options here that we can add into our topics wherever we like. If we wanted to add images from our computer, that again is relatively simple to do from this home menu, and we can just click picture. This is going to open up a browser of your local images, so these are images on my computer, and again I can just choose to add one of these images into the mind map just by double clicking. Now you'll see as the images have come in there, they may be a bit larger than we might want, so we've got some options in terms of position and sizing for our images. All we need to do is click into the topic and then double click to give us the image. But you see as we click it once, we get these little options to resize here. So I can just drag the corners of this image to resize it, and also I can actually drag it around within the topic to decide where I want to position it. So I can position it to the right or to the left of the text, above, or even below. So lots of options to customize how that image appears within the MindMaster map. Of course, if you decide you want to simply get rid of the image, you can click the topic, click the image, and then just hit delete. Nice and easy. Another way we can add visual interest to our maps is using icons and markers in MindMaster. Now these are a great way of identifying certain pieces of information or topics with certain flags or markers that signify something extra. Now adding markers or icons to a topic is again very easy. We can do this a number of different ways. First of all, we can come up into the main menu here, slide across, and you'll see the word mark. That actually means kind of icons and markers. So we can add all sorts of different markers here to just signify something extra for ourselves. So we could add a priority 1 marker. We could also add, for example, a completion marker that's going to tell us how far through perhaps a particular task is. We can access the same options again as you might expect through that sidebar menu. So if I come over to the right here and just look for that same symbol and just pop that open, you'll see I can maybe mark this one as priority 2 and this level of completion. Perhaps if something's not going particularly well, I might decide to also add a red flag, maybe to give myself a visual signal that I need to investigate something a little bit further. When it comes to the priority markers, which I use quite often in my maps just to give myself really quick visual signals about importance, I also can use this little shortcut here, which is just the control key plus the number 1, 2 or 3, etc., to just very quickly add these priority markers. This is quite a nice way if I wanted to very quickly mark up lots of information with different priority markers. All I'm doing here is just hitting the control key and clicking a particular number in the software on the keyboard. If we want to change any of the markers we've added, it's very simple again. We can just click onto that marker, and you'll see MindMaster gives us a really nice little menu here to just say I want to change that from priority 1 to maybe a priority 2. Similarly with the completions, I maybe have progressed that, and I can now say that it's nearly 70 or 75% complete. So we've got lots of different options to update and edit these markers, and of course if we want to remove them, it's as simple as clicking that icon once again, and in addition to all these options to change the marker, we can just click the red cross to delete it. Next, let's look at relationship lines in our maps. These are a great way of showing clear connection between two pieces of information which may not be within the same branch area in the mind map. So in terms of adding a relationship line, the first thing we need to do is select one of the topics that we're going to connect up, and then we can click up here into the home menu, see this relationship option, and you'll see the line then starts to jump out of the topic I've selected, and it's now just waiting for a place to land. So if I connect that up to here, to this topic up here that says extra information, you'll see it's drawn this line across the page here connecting these two topics. Now the sidebar menu has also opened up over here to give me the option to do some editing, and we'll look at that in just a moment, but I'm just going to close that for the moment. What we want to do now is maybe just make this line come out a little bit more so it's not so hidden behind these other topics. So when I click the relationship line, you'll see these yellow points appear, and these, if I click them and drag them, give me the ability to control the shape of that line. So again, I can pull that into a slightly more sensible way of showing that relationship. So we can add these lines all over the map, but you want to be careful about adding too many, otherwise your map's going to start to get very cluttered. But once we've added the line, what we can also do is start to edit and format that to really give ourselves some options. So if we right click the relationship line, you've got quite a few different options in here to edit that. I prefer to come over here into the formatting panel on the right sidebar, just so I can see a little bit better what I'm doing. So for example, with the line color, we can change that, and you'll see, as always with MindMaster, the changes show as you're hovering over, so you can decide what you like the look of. So maybe if this is a connection that's potentially problematic, we might use a red line. We can also edit the thickness of the line here to make it stand out more, or just make it sort of slightly more balanced. And we can also edit the ends of the line. So we've got arrows at both ends to show that it's perhaps a sort of mutual relationship that goes both ways. And you'll see here we've also got a label that we can change. So I can click into that and I could maybe give that a label of problem. And that label is then going to stay in the line like that. But we can even edit the way that text appears on the line, which I think is a great feature in MindMaster. So for example, rather than have it interrupt the line like that, I can have it actually sit on the line or even below the line, or other options. So loads of great options in MindMaster for formatting these relationship lines to really make them stand out and really help them to show you the connection between two items. Of course, if we want to delete the line, it's as simple as clicking on it and hitting the delete key. Boundaries in a mind map are a great way of really showcasing and highlighting a selection of information as being part of a group. If we open up our options here, adding boundaries to a map is very, very simple. We can come up to the main menu and just slide across here just to this option here that says boundary. Now the boundary is going to be applied at whatever level I've clicked in the map. So I could add a boundary up here to this entire visual interest section. So let's just do that to illustrate. Or if I wanted to highlight a smaller selection, for example, the boundaries section, I could highlight there. So it's important that you always think where your mouse is selected before you add the boundary. Again, it's going to apply that boundary across whatever selection you've chosen. As you'd expect, when we want to do some formatting of this boundary, we come in here to the paintbrush on the right hand menu again, and we've got lots of different options here to change the colors of what's going on. Now you notice not much is really changing here in the color, and that's because I've got it set to a very transparent fill at the moment. So if I come down to more options, you'll see the transparency is at 98%. Well, if I maybe want those colors to show up a little bit more, I can reduce that transparency just like that. You'll notice I've got lots of options here also to do different gradient colors, lots of different options in our MindMaster options. But I'm going to keep it relatively simple, go with a single color, maybe not so transparent now. Again, options to change the lines, the shape of the boundary, whatever you like, to really make that group of information stand out for different reasons. If you want to remove the boundary, you simply click on that and hit delete to return it to its former state. Finally, when it comes to visual interest in MindMaster, there's some really great shortcuts if perhaps you don't have the time or inclination to play around too much with different formatting options. You've got some great options here up in the map theme. So if you look up here in the main menu for page style, what we can do here is just use some of the pre-built themes in MindMaster to apply some really creative visual styles to our mind maps without having to do too much playing around in the options ourselves. So if I just click into the themes here, I can just hover over them, and you can just see in the mind map to the right, it's really changing that style, that visual design of the map as I hover over. So I could really start to just see what kind of style of map I might like, and it might mean that I want different types of styles of map depending on perhaps my audience or the project I'm working on. So playing with the map theme is a very quick and easy way to add some visual interest to your maps. And of course, one final thing to look at is the option to change the background of your mind map. So if you want a particular background, again, we can come up into page style, slide across here, and you've got background color. I can hover over these and you can just see the background color of that mind map just changing as I hover over the different options. So I'm going to go with this sort of light yellow option here and just leave that on there. So editing the page style either using the pre-made map themes or simple options like the map background color, really nice way to finally sort of visually customize your MindMaster maps. Next up, let's look at how we can use some of the functionality of MindMaster to add extra information to our mind maps without creating too much clutter. The first feature we can use to do this is topic notes. This allows us to add text information to any topic in the map, but without creating too much visual clutter as we do so. We can add notes using a number of different methods. One is we can come up to the main menu and we can come up here to home and then just slide across right the way to here and click notes. I'm then going to pop open a little kind of text editor and we can add extra information here without cluttering the map. Now you'll see within this note I've got all of the sort of function and formatting options that you might expect from a rich text editor, including the ability to create colors and change things. But the important thing is once I close this note, that's just going to say, do you want to save the changes? And it's just going to add this little icon to my topic. And that's just telling me visually that I've got some extra information below the surface. So if I hover over that note, you can see here's that note that I just added using that notes feature. So it's a really good way of putting extra information below the surface without creating clutter. If I want to edit that note, I can just hit the note button again, come back in and make the changes I wish. An important and useful little shortcut to just speed up that process is just to use your keyboard to hit Control and the letter T, and that's going to pop open the notes panel very quickly. So a really nice easy way to pop open that notes, and I can just hit OK and save that again once there. So using notes allows you to add lots of extra text information to any topic, but keeping the surface level of your mind map nice and clean and manageable. Another way we can add extra information or useful references to our mind maps is using the hyperlinks functionality. Hyperlinks are, again, a nice way to give us little visual signposts to take us off to, for example, websites or files on our computer. Adding hyperlinks, again, we can come up to the main menu here, slide across, and just near the notes area that we just looked at, you can see a hyperlink option. So if I click that, you then get a new dialog that says where would I like to link to. So for example, I could choose to link to an internet address, and I could, for example, type in biggerplate.com as the website I want to save. And if I hit OK, the software has now just saved that link right here in my map. And if I hover over that, I can click that link and I'm going to be taken straight to the destination, whatever URL that was that I saved into my mind map. So we can use the hyperlinks to link to websites, and there's a shortcut that allows you to do that very quickly just using the control key and the letter K. That again is going to pop open that dialog box really quickly for you, so you don't have to jump up to that menu. Once you get more comfortable using MindMaster, this is a really nice way of just kind of speeding yourself up. So we can add links to websites, but we can also link to files perhaps on our own computer, and this is a nice way of keeping the other documents that you might need really quickly and easily available. So again, if I hit Control K and just say that hyperlink option again, but what I want to do this time is link to a file or application. So I can then say to browse my computer, I can maybe find a folder or something that I know I want to link to. Maybe I've got something in here, a PDF, and I can just say save a link to that PDF into the mind map. And again, that little symbol tells me that I've saved the hyperlink, and if I click that link, it's going to pop open that document wherever that is on my computer. So a really nice way of keeping your core information easily available in your mind maps. If at any point you want to go in and edit any of those links, again, you can right click that link, hit edit, and you've got all sorts of different options here. Perhaps you want to change the link to go to a different type of document, a different location, or of course you might want to change those website addresses that you used earlier. The hyperlinks, really nice way to add little visual signposts that can take you to lots of extra information, again, without creating too much extra clutter in your mind map. Finally, another way we can add extra information into our mind maps is actually by attaching other files that are on your computer to this mind map. So I can come up here to the main menu, slide across to attachment, browse to a particular file that I want to attach. Let's use our workshop handout example again, and click OK. And importantly, now this is going to sort of travel with this mind map, and it's right there, so I can jump across to that PDF very easily. But also if I package up this map and send it to others, that attachment will go with it. So another nice way of pulling your key information and documents into one place using the MindMaster functionality. Finally, let's look at two ways you can export your mind maps into common file formats that can help you share your maps with people who maybe don't yet have any mind mapping software. There are two quick, easy formats that we can export to. We can send our mind map into a PDF format, or we can also create an image file. Both are accessed easily through the File and then Export menu here. Now you see lots of different options here that you can explore in your own time, but first and foremost, let's do a quick PDF export. Once we hit the PDF option, we just need to decide where we're going to save it. If I said save there, replace that existing demo. What we've got here is lots of different options here to change the page size, the orientation, all of these different things. And really what we're going to do here is just say OK, keep life simple for ourselves, and that's just exported immediately to a PDF format. Very, very quick and easy for you to then share that PDF with people who maybe don't yet have MindMaster software. If we wanted to create an image file, again, we've got the same options here under graphics. We can export to a graphics format, and what we can then do just down here in our file options is decide whether we want, for example, a JPEG or a PNG file. Let's choose a PNG file and just say to save that again. It's just going to turn that mind map into an image that we can send to people or that we can use in documents. And again, we've got lots of different options here to play with, but I'm just going to keep it as it is and say send that to an image. And there we go, a nice clean image file that I could send to other people as it is, or I could include in documents, embedded presentations, whatever it might be. Easy ways for you to create image outputs for your mind maps, share with other people who maybe don't have any software yet. So there you have it, our simple guide to getting started with MindMaster. Using the core features demonstrated in this video, you'll be able to create amazing mind maps and get the maximum benefit from this fantastic mind mapping software. What's more, you've seen everything you need to know in order to complete the Biggerplate certification process using MindMaster. Visit biggerplate.com/certification to find out more. I hope you found this video useful, and I hope you enjoy getting started with MindMaster. For more mind mapping templates, tutorials, and training, please visit biggerplate.com.